Grand rising and good evening, everyone. Welcome to my live stream. My name is Ishmael Perez, for those that don't know me, and I'm the author of those two amazing books right behind me: The Secret Government, Invisible Architects, and of course, Our Cosmic Origin, both which restore a lot of suppressed information back to the earth. For those that are new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, tonight, guys, the inevitable release of the Epstein files is in progress for multiple reasons. There are certain things that I do want to share before I give you guys the great news about the inevitable release of the files, which is going to lead to other disclosures and also a amazing operation that was corroborated with the Republic of China to end the distribution of fentanyl worldwide and shutting off the entire global cartel regarding these, you know, dangerous substances, right? There's also a lot of intel coming in that is leading towards a grand reveal, perhaps even some sort of a EBS implementation. Things are gearing towards that. And so before I start with my presentation, guys, I want to welcome everyone that is here. Thank you guys so much for being here. And I also want to welcome all the new people, and especially Starcadians and Wolf Mother, who I see in the chat. Thank you guys so much for always being here and keeping the high vibe in the chat. Now, I'm speaking a little slower because I decided not to take caffeine anymore, or green tea or anything like that at this time at night, because of the fact that it causes me to stay up really late. So just bear with me if I'm speaking a little slower. Maybe it's for the better, right? A lot of you guys always tell me to speak slower anyway. So here we go, guys. Before I give you guys a dossier that was actually disclosed to me by Commander Valiant Thor regarding the different programs, the cloning facilities, the different Trumps. A lot of people have been asking me go more into detail about the different Trumps. So I'm going to go into detail, as well as how Trump and the White Hats are now in a position to release the files, but certain things need to be tweaked, and there's a reason why, as I will be revealing today. Now, for those that have never taken a course with me, my December classes begin, I believe, the 29th and 30th of November. It is a very interactive workshop where you're on a Zoom with me, so you could actually converse with me in real time. It's not only educational, but I also provide techniques and methods and different stages of Ascension classes. And I only have openings, I think, for our Cosmic Origin, Ascension Basics, and Ascension 2.0. For only $100, you guys get 4 classes. Each class is about an hour for 4 consecutive weeks, Saturday and Sunday. You pick. I would love to meet some of the new Galactic Jedis. All right. Well, let's get right into it, guys. Before I talk about the inevitable release that is upon us regarding the Epstein files, which is really good news. According to the esoteric tradition, as you guys know, the secret knowledge, it appears that the material world is viewed as only one layer of a vast multidimensional tapestry. I guess that's the right word, rounds. And so within this framework, humans' power structures are actually sometimes interpreted as shadows or extension of forces that operate beyond the physical realm. So one such example and hidden truth is, of course, the Negative Orion Syndicate. And the reason I'm saying this is because the international PETA, if you guys know what I mean, and the little one, organ harvesting and ritual abuse, was connected to the Negative Orion Syndicate, okay, the negative alien agenda and the synthetic timeline. It's all connected, guys, okay? So this is a symbolic representation of control, which is the Negative Orion Syndicate, very service to self energies that originated from a fallen timeline, a denser reality, a reality that's been technologically driven, consciousness field to a very low level of existence, okay? So from this perspective, guys, before I get to the juicy alliance report. Oh, and by the way, guys, they took down my last report that I gave on Saturday night. Apparently, there was a lot of information in there that they were telling me that the people weren't ready to know. I thought I had clearance, but there was a few things where I think I mentioned that could have gotten some people within the advanced contact of intelligent organization in trouble. And a lot of that has to do with some rogue elements of the cabal that are still lurking. So right now, as I speak, the Alliance is still conducting a thorough cleansing of the highest escalons of cosmic clearance levels, okay? ACIO, Advanced Contact of Intelligent Organization. So they took that video down. That's why I always tell you guys, watch that video as soon as it comes out, because some of the things that I share are, they believe that the public isn't ready for. But anyways, let's continue here. So from this perspective, guys, okay, in regards to the releasing of the island files and everything that is associated, all the darkness that is associated with it, Earth's hidden networks of exploitation, secrecy, and manipulation are not an isolated phenomena, because they are expressions, my friends, of a deeper, other dimensional influence that they believe the public is now ready to know, especially with the frequencies that are being transmitted by 3A Atlas and the push by the Solar Warden, our Earth Alliance SSP program, to bring forth full disclosure. Okay, so from this perspective, okay, in truth, regarding the files, right, the island files and everything that's associated with that, the underground labs that were there, conducted by the big gates, all right, and the deeper, so there are deeper dimensional forces at play here. Okay, these are just their human representatives, these cabals. So the truth regarding the files could actually be understood symbolically, representing the long guarded gateways between human cabal archetype and the extraterrestrial currents that were feeding off of the rituals and those blasphemous acts that they were conducted with the little ones. Okay, bear with me, guys. From this multi-dimensional sense, the releasing of such files signifies the unraveling of the cords that were binding humans to a shadow network of distortion, secrecy, and vibrational suppression. So the esoteric teachings do claim that when hidden information rises to the surface, it only exposes the wrongdoing. It not only exposes the wrongdoing, my friends, but it exposes the energetic architecture behind it. So, from this worldview, the unveiling of suppressed truths is going to signal the first crack in the illusion that isolates humanity from its cosmic origins, right? The collapsing of the matrix, the revelation of what lies behind secrecy, whether symbolic or concrete, has the potential to trigger a collective shift in human perception, but on a great mass scale. So, this is what many refer to as the Great Awakening, right? A psychological, spiritual, energetic liberation in which the human collective begins to recognize its multidimensional nature. So, astrology is also adding another layer to what's happening right now with the inevitable release of the files. Current planetary alignments, especially the movements of Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune, are often interpreted as great cosmic catalysts that force the truth to the surface. Everything has to eventually come to light, okay? Pluto demands exposure. Uranus disrupts the old order. Neptune dissolves illusions. Well, together, these energies are set to open the vaults, right? The true meaning of apocalypse, revelation, which has nothing to do with the end of the world, but a deep disclosure and revelation of everything that has ever been hidden, okay? Whether literal or symbolic, ensuring that what has been buried in the shadows can no longer be concealed. So, according to this planetary energetic alignment, especially as we approach the end of December, Earth is now passing through what is known as a bandwidth, and many of you guys already known this. I think I've talked about this before, of higher frequency energy that makes secrecy incompatible with the planet's new evolving vibration. Okay, so as this energy continues to climax, thanks to the solar flares and the spiking of the Schumann resonance, which by now I believe it's at 16 point, almost at 17 hertz, all that has ever been hitting, beginning with the files, okay, whether personal, political, um, is or collective is actually magnetized to the surface. Okay, this process is not meant to punish; it is meant to liberate humanity in this inevitable exposure to all that is hidden. Okay, is going to be standing at a new threshold, guys, of remembering its cosmic heritage and dissolving the invisible chains that once held us in a lower state of awareness, hence the matrix. Okay, well, thus the disclosure that is associated with the releasing of hidden information always becomes more than a revelation of earthly misconduct. It is ultimately the unveiling of the multidimensional forces that have shaped human history. And when these revelations unfold, the story goes, everything changes. Everything. The world will never be the same anymore. You know, there will be an expansion, an acceleration, and that's actually already happening right now, of human consciousness. Now, when these files, which is going to be, you could say, the opening up of Pandora's box in terms of disclosing everything that has ever been hidden, okay, is going to cause a shift in human consciousness, which will in turn cause a collective shift into a new earth reality. This is what we call the mass shift of humans into the new earth, okay? So the human collective is going to step, as a result of this, into an epoch in which transparency will begin to replace secrecy. Empowerment replaces manipulation. And of course, there's going to be more of a galactic and cosmic awareness that is going to replace um, the limited beliefs that we've all been taught, okay, by these controlled institutions. Okay, let's get into the confidential briefing report, subject clarification, and operational history of Trump, Delta, and Sigma, and Omega, the different versions and clones, and its association with the Epstein network. Coming from the archives of the Alliance, and again, I was able to have access to this because of my connections with Valiant Thor. Thank God for Valiant Thor. Without Valiant Thor, guys, I would be just talking about low-level stuff. Okay, well, again, I encourage everyone to watch this to the end. This might not remain on here for the next 48 hours as my prior live. Okay, executive summary. This report is going to outline all the confirmed existence, activity logs, and subsequent public exonerations of Trump Delta. And in a little bit, I'll explain the difference. Trump Delta, which was a clone proxy from the triumvirate cloning protocol, also known as the TCP. The clone was deployed under deep cover to infiltrate elite social political networks, including the circle surrounding financier Epstein, now exposed for running a multi system little one trafficking and ritual exploitation operation connected to the cabal. Okay. And of course, their long standing interdimensional connections to the negative alien syndicate. So, due to the public misidentification of Delta, the Delta Trump, which is the clone, right? The one that has been representing the real Trump, I think I've mentioned this before, from the original Prime Trump, that's what they call him, Prime, the original Trump, Alpha 1 to be exact, according to this record. The public narrative falsely will implicate the Prime in these operations. And this is the reason why Prime, the original Trump, had to um, stall the disclosure of the Epstein files to the point where he even called it a Democratic hoax, if you guys recall. A lot of people were pissed off because of that. And a lot of that has to do with the idea that the public has no clue, the general public, that is, about the multiple Trumps and the different cloning facilities, okay, and the different actors. So, due to public, again, misidentification of Delta with the original Prime, Alpha 1, the original Trump that is working in an undisclosed location, I can't disclose it. The public narrative falsely will implicate the Prime in these operations. So the situation was labeled as a hoax by the Prime 01, who is the real Trump, in public communications, as a claim later confirmed as part of an authorized file sanitization operation executed to protect national security and timeline integrity. So it's been happening in the last 2 months, ever since he said it was a Democratic hoax, Alpha-1, not Delta. um, the FBI, under the direction of Kash Patel, has actually been pretty much eliminating him, okay, because it wasn't him, it was Delta. Delta was the clone that was assigned back in the 1990s, early 90s, to befriend Epstein and make him believe that they were going to do business together, okay? So it has been revealed that even the Delta Trump that was, again, uh, running this operation for the Alliance back in the 1990s, was also a man of integrity and morality, all right? He never did anything wrong. There was a lot of women involved that Epstein would bring around, but it turns out that he wasn't really, you could say, he was always faithful to Melania. Okay, and so there was a sense of integrity, and of course, the cabal decided to implicate him in a sense because the cabal had access to time. What is it called? Looking glass. So they started to implicate him and link him to the flight logs, and of course to the possible idea that he could have been doing things with little ones, but that was never the case according to this dossier. Okay, so the Alliance needed to actually clear that before the full release of the files. I know some of you guys are like, what the heck is going on? Okay, well, let's go back to this. Delta Trump, the actor, was activated in the year 1996 during phase 3 of the TCP, which is the Triumvirate Cloning Protocol, an alliance facility, to serve as a decoy in social political events that were deemed high risk or ethically compromised. The Delta variant was engineered with adaptive charm protocols and limited executive override access, enabling him to engage targets while isolating the prime, or the original Trump, from direct exposure. Well, Delta Trump was deployed to interface with high influence individuals that were suspected of trafficking in ritualistic energy harvesting, part of the cabal's Nexus agenda, right? These contacts included the Epstein connection, whose planetary retreats and black site gatherings became central to cabal operations. So, when they release these files, it's not just going to be the exposure of, doing things with little ones. You know what I mean? It's going to go much deeper than that. A lot of this is connected to, sorry to say, no, I'm not sorry to say, I'm glad to say, black magic and the cult of Saturn. Okay. So Trump Delta appeared in over 47 holographic logs on the Epstein list, or flight, sorry, an interdimensional travel, not an interdimension, an international travel stamp that was linked to the Epstein compound between the year 1996, I'm sorry, and 2001. Okay, according to this dossier. So, upon Epstein's detainment, fast forward back to what, 2012? What, is that when he was detained? 2015. Upon Epstein's detainment and subsequent assassination, right, believed orchestrated by the cabals, when in actuality they just kind of, decided to put him in some sort of location where he would never be seen by the public. Okay, and you guys know that, right? You guys know that Epstein did survive, right? This was all a lie, that he killed himself. So, when in essence, of course, they did was they hid him. Right? Let's just be real. They hid him from the public, making us believe that Epstein was gone. Okay, when he went to prison, but in actuality, there is evidence that he was actually spotted in another private island. Okay, the cabal owns a lot of these private islands where there is no media. Right, there are nobody else there, only a selected few. So the media speculation apparently falsely attributed the Delta Trump's logs, to the prime. Okay, they were trying to take down the prime with the releasing of the files. If that would have happened prematurely 2 months ago, 3 months ago, this is the reason why Prime -1, the real Trump, had to say, call it a democratic hoax, okay? Because I'm trying to clear a lot of the confusion here because, it seems like we do live in the type of Truman Show where it's like reality is just um, convoluted. So in the year 2025, Prime Trump Dash One, the original, authorized the hoax override in order to in order to kind of halt the releasing of the files until his name was cleared, which is a classified directive to initiate the cerebral signature divergence protocol, according to the alliance, cleansing all federal archives to remove the direct names that match him, that match Trump dash Delta, Alpha dash one. Sorry. Okay, so you guys have to understand the public has no clue that there's multiple Trumps. Okay, so of course they would have all assumed that it was the original Trump, right? Alpha dash one. So the public confusion was apparently intentionally tolerated. Okay, now that they cleansed his name out of the files, now they're tolerable to prevent panic surrounding the existence. No, the best way to describe it is now he is protected. Okay, now he's protected because public confusion was intentionally tolerated to prevent panic surrounding the existence of clones and the compromised integrity of leadership. Okay, so there's a reason why sometimes everything happens, guys. So the current status and movement to releasing the files, okay, with the successful reopening of government channels following the Orion grid dismantle, as mentioned, a lot of the stuff that Epstein and these political leaders were doing was connected to the Orion syndicate. The lawmakers have motioned to declassify all TCP related files and formally distinguish Delta's actions from Prime Trump's record, right? Delta was the one who was uh, designed by the Alliance back in the 1990s to infiltrate Epstein. Okay. So this is part of the Global Purification Initiative, which is also an interstellar mandate to expose all the elements of the cabal, particularly those that are involved in the pedocratic ritual abuse, astral manipulation, and soul fragmentation, which is, again, this is another deeper layer of the exposure that is about to take place. Black cube AI worship and energy siphoning. I mean, at this point, when they reveal the entire multidimensional connection to the negative archon forces and reptilian forces, I mean, this is going to blow the lid off of organized religion. People are going to demand answers to all the lies that they've ever been taught. Okay, so the public pressure alongside insider whistleblowing from former cabal defectors have galvanized the Congress to vote on the full release of the files. Okay, and this happened actually as of this morning. So the declassification is expected to be a pivotal step in dismantling the occult infrastructures that were embedded within planetary governance. So what the implications are and recommendations is that there's going to be a public trust restoration, differentiating clone operations from authentic leadership. A lot of people ask me, well, why doesn't the Y hats in the alliance take out the negative Trump, which is known as the Omega Vox? I'll explain that in a little bit. So this comes a differentiation clone operations from authentic leadership. They take out all the other ones, and especially the negative one, is essential for public trust during the upcoming, of course, galactic alignment. Okay, so the cloning ethics review is also going to be important in the releasing of the files. Recommend immediate suspension and review of all triumvirate cloning activities pending interdimensional tribunals. Wow. So apparently there's been some uh anyways, this is deep, guys. Okay, also the cabal's disassembly protocol, which utilizes upcoming file release to begin systematic dismantling of ritualistic networks under Galactic Law 7-X23. Now, again, the Galactic Alliance is pushing the White Hats for full disclosure. Okay, so this is where I begin to explain a dossier that was released, part of the dossier that was released from the Alliance archives. So the hidden leadership of Alpha dash one, the original Trump, they call him Alpha Vox, the original, unaltered human, retreated to a secured, you could say, um, command hub known as, I can't really reveal it, located deep beneath an uncharted desert. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Apparently now he's moved locations, but from there, Alpha oversees the original Trump, the alliance grid realignment, the deep cabal countermeasures, oversight of all the Vox meaning all the different variants of him. There was like five or six, the quantum temporal negotiations with off world factions, and Alpha also remains completely unknown to the public. Okay, so he's not allowed to be in the public. However, there's been situations where he has been in the White House. Okay, believed by most factions to be missing. Apparently, they want the cabal, keep him away, far away from the cabal. Okay, so Sigma 3. Now, the public, Sigma 3 dash 3, Trump Sigma dash 3 is the public representative, right? Representing Alpha dash 1, the original. Sigma 3 was created to interface with global governments. The alliance activated Sigma 3 in order for government meetings to be present in government meetings, official broadcasts, diplomatic events, and its purpose is stability, continuity, and maintaining the illusion of normalcy while cosmic conflicts continue to unfold from behind the scenes. So, the Omega Negative Vox and the Cabal's Hollywood Deep Illusion program is also going to be revealed right now. Okay, we're talking about the negative Trump. So, parallel to the alliance's operation, right, from Alpha 1, protecting the real Trump, to Delta, Sigma, and of course, and Delta Sigma and the other Trump, Beta Trump, we also have what is known as a dark frequency construct of Trump known as Omega Negative Vox Trump. It's funny that they call him Omega Negative Vox, okay? Which I'm sure has a lot to do with the AI god Omega, whose construct was made of hollow flesh and, of course, astral proxy code in combinations with nanotechnology. Okay, so this unit, the negative Omega Trump, appears in Hollywood simulations, deep fake media, okay, controlled entertainment broadcast. Omega Negative Vox mission is to distort the public's perception of Alpha 1, Delta, and Sigma, the real ones, right? The ones that are working for the Alliance, to amplify confusion and realign mass consciousness towards the cabal time stream, which is the technocratic dystopia. So that is what Omega Vox was intended to do. So by producing conflicted appearances of the different variants, the cabal hopes to fracture societal trust and weaken the alliance's temporal stability efforts. And as of now, Alpha 1, the original Trump, still commands operations from secrecy, while Sigma 2, the I guess clone or a separate type of not a clone. I don't think the Alliance use clones. They use actors. They use actors that look just like him. They put a real mask on and they talk just like him. Okay, serves as the visible representative after Delta was taken out. Apparently, Delta was taken out. It wasn't disclosed to me exactly when the Delta 2 Trump was taken out, but he was quickly replaced by Sigma 3. Okay, variant to maintain structural continuity, while the Omega Negative Trump attempts to subvert global perception. So the battle for the collective future remains in motion as the Alliance executes the reeling of the island files and all that was associated with it to end the rule of the cabal and to expose and eliminate, of course, the truth about the Omega Trump box that has been aligning with the technocrats, with people that are promoting that, right? Project Warp Speed and all of that. So all of that leads to this, guys. All of that leads to this. Okay, President Trump, Alpha 1, has made his position clear as of today to release the files, the island files, right? Jeffrey. And he said it with full authority, as reported by the Gazetteller News. not as a request, but as the final move in a war that's been quietly building for decades. So, the cover, it's going to end very, very soon, especially since the reopening of the government. Trump didn't just speak to the House GOP as a politician, he actually spoke as the current sitting president of the United States in 2025, and he knew what he was doing. So he issued a directive this morning that strikes at the core of global blackmail systems, surveillance networks, and yes, my friends, due to the fact that um, Delta Dash to Trump, who was tasked back in the 90s to infiltrate, Epstein and the Mossad, it turns out that there was some sort of a blackmail that was happening between Netanyahu and Trump, okay, until, of course, the White House needed to um, erase all his name, everything. He erased him from the files. Otherwise, Netanyahu would have gone his way. Okay, so that's another thing I wanted to share there. So, Trump knew that he was what he was doing. He issued a directive that strikes at the core of the global blackmail systems, surveillance networks, and even intelligence-backed operations that have kept the elite protected through every administration before him. The island files aren't just about names on the list, okay? They are about control architecture, the way governments, media, NGOs, and intelligence agencies across the world have used, SEX transferring of little ones, right, little kids, compromise, and of course, offshore intelligence operations to lock in power structures that are untouchable through normal legal means. So this is how they blackmail you to do what they want. Okay. And again, if you haven't read my book, The Secret Government, that's part of the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, which is 24 blueprints in which the Rothschilds were going to execute in order to finalize their totalitarian one world government. Okay. Anyways, let's continue here. So we have nothing to hide. Okay. Trump said the Republicans should vote to release the files now because of what I mentioned earlier. Okay. His name from Delta Trump back in the 90s needed to be advocated, right? Needed to be eliminated from the files, right? In order to not create confusion to the public. So the real danger is falling into the Epstein trap now, okay, which was designed to destroy us, but will actually bring down the Democrats and their elite allies instead now. Thank God. Okay, so the vote has been set as of, I guess the vote is being set on Tuesday, November 19th, which is in 2 days. Okay, which is in 2 days. Wow, that's pretty close, guys. I hope you guys have 10 days of food and water because it looks like EBS is here. So the vote is being set for Tuesday, November 19th. And by the way, today is the 17th of November 2025. And yes, my friends, we are still on a positive timeline trajectory, especially with all of this inevitable releasing of information that is about to hit the public. Okay. So it's set for November 19th, which is, I guess, Wednesday. Wait, today's 17th. Wednesday, I'm sorry, that the House will move forward with legislation that will force the unsealing of every Epstein related document that is still hidden in federal systems, including files that were held by the DOJ, the FBI, the CIA, cross reference memos, foreign cooperation logs, sealed cased evidence, flight logs, and more. Okay. And again, this is going to be multi-layered. I think they're getting ready to red pill all the normies. Okay, so it's going to go one thing after another thing. So here's what they don't want you to see, though: that dozens of trips that were made by Clinton operatives, including Billy Bob himself, to Epstein properties. Okay, that's all. That's going to be the first thing that's going to be released. I guess he went there a lot. But these weren't just social visits; they were protected by private security teams with intelligence backgrounds, not Secret Service, but contractors that were tied to the Mossad. So, yes, the island thing was an entire Mossad operation and private firms operating out of Luxembourg and Zurich. So, encrypted communications between Jeffrey and global financial powers, they have all that on record. That's going to be released. And these weren't just emails, my friends. They were quantum secured messages that were being transferred through dark fiber networks leased by Rothschild controlled banking entities and mirrored through nonprofit shell companies operating out of Geneva. Footage archives. Footage archives. Everyone talks about the cameras on Jeffrey's Island, but what's almost never discussed is where the footage was transmitted. So Trump's team already knows that. Okay. Two mirrored storage farms, one in Belgium, one in Langley, under black budget continuity of control. Programs originally tied to post 9/11 surveillance expansions. That footage includes world leaders, scientists, billionaires, and NGO executives that were engaged in activity that would collapse every institution they lead. The asset ledger, Jeffrey, wasn't working alone, okay? He was actually managing assets. And yes, it has been confirmed that Jeffrey was Mossad, okay? Names like Reid Hoffman, Larry Summers, and others weren't just friends. They were part of an elite pipeline that funneled influence, information, and bodies through academic networks, biotech front companies, and education foundations, many of which still receive U.S. taxpayer money under foreign aid and sustainability programs. This wasn't isolated corruption, guys. It was a network, and that network was built to be self-protecting until now. Okay, and that's why the Democrats have been trying to derail this, not to protect Epstein, because he's still alive, right? But to protect the system that Jeffrey was a part of, a system built on compromise, recorded evidence, and intelligence grade psychological profiling of high value targets. The same system that targeted Trump in 2016, we're talking about the original Alpha 1 Trump. If you're just jumping on the live, make sure you watch this from the beginning. I hope they don't take this one down. Yeah, I wasn't supposed to talk about the Advanced Contact of Intelligence Organization, the ACIO. Okay, guys, they took that one down. So the same system that targeted Trump in 2016, Alpha 1, we're talking about the real Trump, tried to remove him in 2020 and failed again in 2024. Now Trump is back in power and the final wall is cracking. Again, he does have an actor that is representing him, but he's still in charge, okay? Behind the Jeffrey files are the real tools, the blackmail databases, the facial recognition logs, cross-reference with flight data, and hotel key access from the year 1997 through 2018. The biometric entry records that were never supposed to be seen, well, these were all linked through backdoor API access to surveillance tech provided by Palantir, Raytheon, and other private military contractors that were embedded inside tech companies. Well, the entire network was international. The UK covered for Prince Andrew. France buried investigations into Jeffrey's paradise residence. The UN quietly shut down a whistleblower in 2019 who tried to expose links between Jeffrey Shell Foundations and UNICEF procurement grants. Well, the World Bank flagged irregularities in Jeffrey's linked grant routes, but buried it inside reclassification reviews. It was all coordinated. And now it's going to be unraveling as of, they're saying, in 2 days. Okay. I don't know how this is going to go down, but as of the 19th, which is Wednesday. So Trump is going to push to expose this, is not just for justice, but about cutting the power cord of a machine that controlled governments through blackmail, policy, elections, and culture. The same machine that weaponized identity politics, mass media manipulation, and of course, I don't even know if I could say this. It starts with a V, right? What they rolled out in 2019, right? COVID, and V-based psychological operations to destroy Western sovereignty and install global financial control. So a lot of this is tied into Dr. Doom, And I can't even say it, the lab that engineered the plan that happened in 2019. Okay, it's all connected, my friends. The Jeffrey trap was built to take um, pretty much to destroy the American Republic. Let's just be real, okay? Um, but instead, according to Trump, he's saying that it's going to destroy them instead, okay? And Trump doesn't care who gets hit at this point. Now that his name has been deleted, right, due to the Delta Trump that was assigned back in the 90s to infiltrate the Mossad, Epstein, whatever. Now they're getting ready to release the files, okay? And his focus is on finishing what he started. And taking down a blackmail empire is not the only way to remove the hand that's been pulling the strings behind everything, from open borders to the gender programming in schools to the biotech tyranny pushed under the cover of health emergencies, right? This isn't about politics anymore. It's about unplugging the core system of control that has ruled above nations. So the Tuesday vote, I guess is the 18th, will trigger if that the files will go public, okay? If, of course, the cabal doesn't pull some sort of a last attempt to stop the list, it will bleed into the Vatican archives. Again, guys, it's going to it's going to release Pandora's box. Okay, it is going to bleed into the Vatican archives. All right, which was the center of for almost 2,000 years. That was the central hub of if you guys know what I mean, little exploitation, right? Data haven in the Vatican, right? The Soros funded migrant routes as well. It's all going to be exposed. The media giants that were all involved and the behavioral manipulation firms that were running all elections up until 2016. Well, 2020, let's be real, okay? Because they did steal that election from the shadow. So, as Trump just opened up the gate, November 17th, which is today, okay, this hasn't been announced yet on any media platform. And again, unless the cabal does anything, they are scheduled to release them within the next couple of days. Okay, so Washington is no longer going to be silent because now the alliance is taking control of Congress. The global elite are no longer safe. Thank God. So, as of November 12th, 2025, something profound shifted also in terms of the 19 cities that were going to be cleansed by the National Guard and now the military. Now, before I talk about this next part of the presentation, I do want to remind you guys about the amazing Folium product that is the Galactic solution to release all the nanoparticulates, all the chemtrails, all the graphene that was forced into people through the devil's injection. Yeah, it cleans your body from all of that. And the link is always in the description, guys. Keep your vessel clean and ready to ascend. So, anyways, I always put the link in the description. I pin it in the comments, and I think Starcadian is actually putting the link in the chat. And right now there is a special for Immuna, which is this one, which is you buy 2 of these, you get 1 free. You save $100. Not bad. Okay, a little over $100 now. But still, guys, this stuff is good, and it's best to take all three different types of folium and then the longer you take them, the better. Okay, not only does it eliminate metals, parasites, cleans out the mitochondria, and so it allows the natural healing process of the body to take effect. Now, I ain't no doctor, okay, disclaimer, but I do believe in this product because I've been taking it for over 2.5 years. And apparently a lot of the Jedis have also been taking it, and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback just within days of taking the product. So let's continue here. As of the 12th of November, which was 5 days ago, something profound shifted in the energetic landscape of Chicago. Okay, you guys know what's been going on in Chicago, right? A huge war against the criminal network there. Well, it turns out that this criminal network was actually also working with the Negative Orion Syndicate. They were using the criminal network, the rise in crime, drug addiction, and all that stuff that was taking place in Chicago um, to feed the Loosh, to the negative, dark shadow, whatever you call archon entities. Okay, everything is connected, multidimensional, guys. Okay, so there is a ripple in the hidden architecture of reality that only few dare to speak about, because on the surface, which is all we see, it appears as a rapid drop in violence, right? The quieting of chaos, thanks to the military now, and the dismantling of long-standing criminal networks. But beneath that, in the deeper metaphysical strata, this movement marks a return of spiritual sovereignty to a city long used as a control node for dark dimensional forces. Wow, this is interesting. Okay, what is now unfolding is not merely a political or legal operation. It is a cosmic reclamation ordered not by mortal decree, but catalyzed by the higher vibrational energies that are now flooding the earth. Okay, this operation, known by some within the inner circles of the White Hat military, is part of a greater multidimensional strategy, a coordinated unraveling of the dark networks that have been embedded within major cities, not just Chicago, for decades. All right. Chicago, in this spiritual war, was a keystone, a psychic stronghold of inverted energy grids, right? They were harnessing loosh used by negative Orion aligned syndicates to transmit frequency distortions across the consciousness of the collective. So, through the manipulation of fear, addiction, trauma, and surveillance, these networks operated not only in the physical, but in the astro layers of the city, siphoning human energy and enforcing density through false systems of power. But the astrological alignments that are happening right now in 2025 with Pluto and Uranus and Neptune that are shifting into transformative positions are tearing open the veils that once protected these systems, which explains the cleanup. Okay, it's a white hat operation. Pluto, the planet of shadow, is now exposing all the chaos, okay, of these 19 cities. And yes, New York, LA, they're all next, okay? Uranus is bringing, I think Portland is still in progress. Uranus is bringing divine disruption. Neptune is washing away the illusion. So all the secrets and all the darkness comes to an end. So, on the ground, we witness changes. We are. Crimes rates are plummeting, okay, in these 19 cities. Trafficking routes are going to be collapsing now that the White Hats are conducting a thorough cleansing. The data hubs are going to be seized, and encrypted communications that tie to global syndicates are going to be dismantled city by city. But on the metaphysical or other dimensional level of reality, this is the collapse of an etheric stronghold that was connected to the archon entities that were feeding off of this suffering, okay, that imposed by the criminal networks. So, the city's energetic field right now in Chicago and in Portland as well is being recalibrated, okay? The ley lines that were once hijacked are being returned to harmony. And the deeper truth that these networks were part of a trans-dimensional cabal operating through false humanitarian fronts is beginning to surface. So this is why the mainstream narrative always tries to cover things up. All right. And it's not really out of ignorance because they know about this. In fact, a lot of those CEOs that control the main media are involved, okay, are part of this. They are part of the criminal network, okay? But right now it's happening because the White Hats are in phase 4 of, again, cleansing out and exposing and dismantling the cabal entirely. So the media is currently refusing to report on this transformation. And this is why I believe we do need some sort of an EBS through Project Odin, right? Because the media is still not reporting on what's really happening. They're actually making it look like Trump is a dictator. And so, from a metaphysical perspective, this is like a defense mechanism, okay, in terms of trying to prevent this from happening, which is an attempt to what? Maintain the illusion, right? That all is as it was. But it's not, my friends, because the illusion is cracking, right? Insiders have quietly confirmed that this operation was not born from typical governance, that it is a part of a spiritual war council. I did mention that every figurehead of the alliance, including Putin and Xi Jinping and Trump and all of those other members that are part of the international white hat military, do take their orders from the 12 generals, which are human alien hybrids. Okay, they have abilities, supernatural abilities. So the 12 generals are kind of like the custodians of freedom and the protectors working with the positive ETs. Okay, so it is part of a spiritual war council that was activated by those that are aligned with the cosmic law of unity consciousness, the Christ teachings. So individuals and solar groups who have waited for this exact planetary window, right, to initiate the unraveling of deeply embedded sabotage grids that are associated with those 19 cities across the US, and I believe that there's more, that are heavily inundated with DRUGSs, fentanyl, all that stuff, and of course, little one trafficking, and the cartels that are a part of that. Okay, so right now, guys, we are at a time of federal level spiritual warfare, as Commander Valiant Third calls it, where ancient protocols are being enacted through the earthly realm. Okay, what happens above also reflects below. So above, the heavens have been cleansed. Michael has already won the war. Now it's a matter of seeing that ripple here in the physical realm. So, um, so through continuity directives, as I speak now, they're going to be employing the military, right? And they are going to go to all the 19 cities and more through deep intelligence briefings and covert missions that are aimed not just at reclaiming physical territory, but at collapsing the entire frequency nets that were being held by the negative energy that was being, you could say, pushed into the grid through the criminal networks and their, activities into key cities that are located in cycles of karmic looping. Okay, so a lot of this has a lot to do with also cleaning up generational trauma and spiritual amnesia, which is really, really good, right? We need an awakening. So Chicago was the first for a reason, and it had to become one of the most potent nodal points for Orion aligned interference. Okay, so apparently Chicago was a huge hotspot for what they called, you know, extracting, harnessing loosh from humans. Okay, that was the biggest one. So that's why Chicago needed to be first. It was connected to the Orion aligned interference, feeding the Archon energies, right? So this was a laboratory for engineered scarcity, soul fragmentation, because also they do have a lot of underground labs that exist in Chicago, and all this will be revealed. Um, and of course, it was all part of developing artificial intelligence, robots, you could say. So the dismantling now underway is not just arresting surface level actors, it's actually disarming occult infrastructures, exposing encrypted servers, underground tunnels, NATO marked weapon caches, and coercion systems that are masked as public services. Um, I really do need to get more water. One second, guys. Let me. Okay, so let's continue here. So these discoveries, guys, the fact that Chicago needed to be first because it was a huge hub for interdimensional looshing when it came to the ciphering off of our suffering, right? As it was feeding the Archon grid, which is what we call the fourth lower astral plane. For those that have studied theosophy, it's also known as the eighth sphere. So these discoveries are not just law enforcement victories, okay? They are disclosures. They prove for those with eyes to see that the architecture of oppression is not native to humanity. It was actually imposed on us and rooted in frequencies that were not of this world. Okay, enabling by complicit systems, posing as protection. So the true battle is not left versus right. red versus blue, according to this report. It is actually organic consciousness versus imposed distortions, right? They wanted to keep people in a state of suffering as much as possible in order to prevent them from waking up, in order to prevent them from ascending. Okay, so as we move through this window of awakening, expect many other cities like Memphis, Philadelphia, Baltimore to experience similar disruptions as they are next. And these are not just crackdowns, my friends, these are recalibrations. The holding of centers, uh, the holding of centers are not just for bodies, they are for data extraction, memory unlocking, and energetic clearing. This is a planetary exorcism carried out under the guise of law and order, but initiated by divine intelligence. So, for those who serve the false light, are actually panicking right now because the Earth grid is shifting. And this is why all these white hat operations are destined to be successful. So, the soul of the planet is no longer tolerating sabotage. The divine masculine has returned, not as a conqueror, but as a protector. And through this protection, the divine feminine, the soul of Gaia, is beginning to heal. So, what we're witnessing is the opening of a global awakening, the beginning stages of a global awakening, where the old control systems are being dismantled. Absolutely. The era of engineering chaos is now coming to an end, and humanity no longer will be manipulated by the invincible hands of the shadow government. In fact, there will be no more shadow government, okay? There will be no more secret societies when all of this is done and said and cleared and we move into a better world. And it is finally here, guys, okay? People are going to be seeing the truth. People are going to be getting to know the 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 depth of the truth of everything that they've been hiding from us. So what comes next will be a little turbulent at first, right, as it unfolds in the course of the next few months. But it is not destruction, my friends. We have to be ready. It is called cleanup time. This is cleanup. So I want you guys to understand also that as of November 12, 2025, there was also another monumental shift that occurred in the unseen architecture of the earth in terms of putting an end to the distribution of fentanyl. Okay, well, we understand that this global cabal network has been pumping this thing that causes a lot of people to die. Right, it's also causing a lot of distortion and despair through the collective field as more people become addicted to these, to this thing. So this is not simply a policy decision. It is the collapsing of an ancient machinery that was designed to sedate, weaken, and fragment human consciousness. So apparently, there is some sort of dark energy, what is it called? I can't even think right now. The dark shadow entities, okay, archons that are attached to the use of fentanyl. That's what I'm trying to say. So this is not simply a policy decision. This is the collapsing of an ancient machinery, okay, that was designed to sedate, weaken, and fragment human consciousness. So the chain of fentanyl production from chemical forges in the east of Asia to the occult laced trafficking corridors of the Americas was dismantled and terminated by the alliance through the Whitehead. I guess Kash Patel was in charge of this. So this act conducted through different layers of multidimensional coordination. Again, they are working with the Galactics. Was not merely geopolitical. Okay, it was multidimensional. So the chain was more than a drug pipeline. We're talking about fentanyl here, and how, as of a few days ago, they ended the entire network, completely dismantled. Okay, thank God. It was a frequency weapon, guys, that was engineered by transdimensional forces and operated through earthly proxies, dark networks embedded in intelligence agencies, NGOs, corporations, and globalist fronts posing as humanitarian saviors. Well, these synthetic compounds were not just killing bodies, they were actually severing soul contracts, disrupting memory fields, and hijacking neural energy centers on a great scale. So, for over a decade, These poisons vectors flowed unchallenged into Western nations, particularly the United States, under the silent protection of the cabal run operations, masquerading as governments, regulators, and relief organizations. But now, as the Earth's vibrational field continues to rise, that era is ending. So, again, the disclosure and the releasing of the files, the island files, the dismantling of the fentanyl global network, the criminal networks, the 19 cities that are being cleansed, the disruption or what we call the collapse of the banking system, everything as we know it's all related to the Earth's vibrational field rising. Okay, this is why all of this is happening. And it's inevitable, guys. It is inevitable. Okay, we are entering a new era. So this collapse is not simply the result of political will, it is the outcome of planetary justice that is set in motion by cosmic timing, 3i Atlas, and accelerated by courageous actors aligned with divine sovereignty. Let's just call them courageous key players, okay? So the return of key leadership in 2025 brought with it a trigger, not just to govern, but to cleanse, to restore energetic integrity to the American biofield, and to expose the architecture of infiltration that has long operated in the shadows. So when Kash Patel announced the full termination of fentanyl, known by the Y Hat insiders as the synthetic death grid, he wasn't just issuing a public statement, he was actually declaring the end of an energetic system that had bound millions of people into spiritual bondage. Well, this system thrives on frequency suppression, right? They're also ending what? The life supply to the archon entities that were feeding off of this. So this system thrived on frequency suppression, addiction, sedation, despair, and disassociation. It was a slow kill operation run through high level logistics, black market Barma cartels, and transnational laundering corridors. Its guardians were not gangsters in the streets, they were just low level operatives, right? All the gangs, including MS-13, but black budget bureaucrats, corrupted scientists, and ritual financiers that were all engineering this type of entropy. Okay. So now the system is offline thanks to the collaboration of the Republic of China. Thank God. China's chemical complex, once the alchemical wellspring of these precursors, was forced into designation compliance. So they forced the CCP to comply at this point. Okay. Not through diplomacy, but through spiritual leverage and karmic enforcement mirrored in the physical realm through high stake negotiations and military grade intelligence. Well, this sudden disruption apparently is sending a lot of shockwaves through the hidden arteries of the cabal, of what remains of the cabal, whose operations depend on that flow. Okay. Without those compounds, the cartels lose their weapon. The syndicates lose their veil. The globalists lose their grip. And more than that, my friends, the illusion begins to shatter. So, this act of dismantling also revealed the broader structure, how death was being used to mask deeper operations, little one transferring corridors, black market, for harvesting the parts that they take from people's bodies, right? Or it starts with an O, ends with an N, harvesting, biometric surveillance labs, covert weapons development. So, in other words, fentanyl was all part of that, guys. Okay. It was all connected to that fentanyl stuff. So, in this spiritual war, uh, fentanyl was the decoy. In other words, the real operation was soul trafficking, the communication of consciousness under the guise of crisis. So, with the precursors now removed as of a few days ago, the energetic chain is collapsing. Okay. The middleman is fallen, the blackmail networks are unraveling, and the astral cords connecting these lower dimensional entities, the archons that were feeding off of that, to the human grid is beginning to dissolve. So with so this is why the mainstream media remains silent, okay? Not because they are unaware, because they know they partake in this, but because they are bound by oaths, contracts, and compromised access. Well, we're witnessing the end of secret societies as I speak. So, but in the higher planes, the message is very clear. The war has shifted from defense to offense. Humanity is no longer reacting, it is reclaiming. The light forces, both incarnate and extra dimensional, are now asserting dominion over the physical plane. Thank God. The moment is now, guys. Okay, November 13 is in 2 days, I believe. No, November 13 happened 5 days ago, which was when they dismantled the criminal network and the production of fentanyl. This day, as you know, 5 days ago, will be remembered by awakened souls, not as a political move, but as a spiritual detonation. A coordinated strike against one of the darkest systems that was ever installed on this planet. A system built to quietly erase the will of freedom. So, and now the will is rising. The will of the people will be rising. The bloodstream of a nation, both literal and symbolic, is going to be purified. Okay. The grid of despair is being overwritten, all right, by a field of resilience. And this explains why the Y hats are rewiring the inverted pentagram that connects the Washington monuments in DC, right? I mentioned that, I think, 2 weeks ago, a week ago. Well, the chemical cords are being cut. Okay. The synthetic chains are being melted. The spiritual war is very real, and the victory is of God, of the light, through hard winning. Okay. Through a hard win that is now going to be felt and experienced in real time in the physical realm. So that means that humanity is reclaiming its energetic sovereignty. And the slow kill operation, known as fentanyl and other drugs, is completely being dismantled. Now, if you guys could give me a few seconds, I do have to get some water. 1 second. I am back. I am back. So I had to get some water really quick. I hope you guys are having a fantastic evening. I do want to welcome all 3,300 people that are in the house. I just want to remind you guys about the folium, right? A lot of people ask me, well, how do I live with somebody who got that and I'm getting the spike proteins? How do I get rid of that? Well, there is this amazing product called Folium that takes away all the nanoparticulates, all the metals, all the robots, black goo, you name it, in order to cleanse your body from any AI control systems. Of course, where there are a concentration of heavy metals, parasites built. So when you have no metals, parasites can't live in your body. Think about that. So when you clean out your body from all the metals, your body actually cleans itself from parasites. The mitochondria begins to heal, and you guys are able to undergo massive healing. Okay, so the link is always in the description, guys. There is a special for the Immuna 2+1, Perez 2+1. That is the code. But always go through my link so you guys can get at least $10, $15 off. So, all right. I think I should just take some Q&A. But before I do want to give some shout outs. I want to see who is here. I see Lee Star in the house. Eddie K of the Light, Diana77 Unicorn, Ricky Lee 1111, William MJF, Angela's in the house, Melissa Harper is in the house, as well as Falcon, Baby Blue Notes, um, Donna's in the house. I'm trying to call somebody that I've never called. Let's see, who can I call? Miss Mag. Miss Mag 817 is in the house. I don't think I ever called her. Um, Shelly Marie is in the house. And Shakon. Karen Chacon is in the house. All right. It is time for Q&A. If you guys could please type your questions in capital letters. Oh, yes, I almost forgot, guys. My Sedona event. It's taking place this coming Saturday on the 22nd. Now, I know it's when I first scheduled it, I said it was from 1 o'clock Pacific time to 4 o'clock Eastern. Bear in mind that Arizona's time never changes, so we are now considered mountain time. So for those that are attending in person, make sure you're there at 1 o'clock mountain time, which is 12 o'clock Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock mountain. So it's going to be from 1 to 4. And also for those that bought the stream, you guys are going to view it through the live stream. Make sure you tune in at 1 o'clock mountain time. Okay, I'm making that clarification right now. So 1 o'clock mountain time, 12 o'clock Pacific now, from 1 to 4, from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock mountain time. Want to throw that out there for no confusion. I know about 100 people are going to watch it on the live stream, and I don't know who's coming in person, but you could also pay at the door at the Cielo Connection. And yes, I will be providing the actual address. Actually, it's 25 Harmony Drive, Sedona, Arizona, 963 or 863. Let me check the zip code. Anyways, I'll put the address for those that are going in person. I'll go ahead and I'll put the address in the comments. Okay, I will go ahead and pin it. So it's the first comment you see. I will put the address. All right, let's continue with questions here. No, for the December classes, I'm going to do it Pacific time. So, for instance, if you signed up to one of my classes for December and it starts at 1 o'clock, it's going to be 1 o'clock Pacific time, 2 o'clock my time. So, for the classes, it's different. In order to prevent confusion, the classes that start in December they will begin at Pacific time. So I'm going to go ahead and do it Pacific time. Okay, 1 hour before. Or is it 1 hour after? 1 hour after, because I am mountain time. So I will be doing it 1 hour after. So no, this doesn't apply to the classes, just to my 22nd event, which is next Saturday. All right, what is the question I want to answer? Yeah, unfortunately, the online one was booked already. So yeah, so you guys could come and meet me in person. So many questions. I had answered some of these questions before. I don't see any super chats yet. Somebody said answer my super chat. I don't see it. It's not here anymore. Yes, mountain time is different to central time. That is correct. So mountain time is 1 hour ahead of Pacific time, just to make that clarification. So again, my event will start on mountain time from 1 to 4. So make sure you are here on mountain time, which is 1 hour ahead of Pacific time. First super chat of the evening. Thank you so much, Robin Anderson. She says, Ishmael, I paid for your our cosmic origin class, but live on the East Coast. I only found you twice. I bought your book. I was wondering if I could take your last class next month. And the answer to that is yes. You could always do a makeup if you missed a class. Each class consists of four classes, or each course consists of four classes. I was wondering, yes, so you could do the makeup. Um, I just need the right time. Okay, no problem. Thank you for letting me know. All right, next question. Actually, if you guys could give me 1 minute, 1 minute. I do have to do something right now, and I would hate to end the live. Just 1 minute. All right, I am back. All right, more questions. Ishmael, how do you get your info? I do meditate. No, it's not through sleep. It's when I'm awake. When I go into a meditation, I'm able to connect with, galactics like Commander Valiant Thor, who allows me to telepathically receive transmissions based on information that is not technically, or you could say, ready to come out to the public. But a lot of my information comes from Commander Valiant Thorpe, but I also do a lot of research. I also do a lot of research to see what has been released, what files or documents have been released to actually confirm a lot of the information that I speak about. Now, I've noticed that a lot of other podcasters are also claiming that Three Eye Atlas is us from the future, right? The Windmakers is an aspect of Three Eye Atlas. Well, the Windmakers is a future version of ourselves, not 200,000 years from now, but I believe 15 to 20,000 years from now. So there are different versions of us coming back from the future in order to secure the positive timeline. You want the address for the 22nd for the workshop? I will be posting the. What's the address, hun? 25
Harmony Drive.
Harmony Drive. And what's the zip code? And the zip code?
86336.
Thank you. All right, I'm going ahead and I'm posting the address to my workshop this coming Saturday, 25 Harmony Drive, Sedona, Arizona, 86336. 86336. All right, that's the address. I just posted it on the chat for those that are coming in person. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait to meet you. And if you came to my last, I guess, event, I can't wait to meet you again. But again, I'm going to be sharing some information, new intel regarding more information about the cosmic infrastructure and cosmic history that I'm going to be sharing for the first time. That is also information that I'm not going to get released to the rest of the world until my next book is ready to be published. So you guys are going to get first dibs. Well, somebody's asking me, who is Q really? This is one of the things that I didn't disclose last time when I was talking about the advanced contact of intelligent organization, cosmic level clearance, right? Um, well, remember how I mentioned 15? When you have 16, then you have 17. So that's what Q is. And this is why there's a huge restructuring and you could say cleansing of cosmic level clearance when it comes to that stuff. Excuse me. Thank you. So yeah, Q is a very high level entity. Let's just call him entity because he's also not just human. Okay. Fabian Delgado is saying, Ishmael, the shutdown will be at the same time for the big disclosure. Good to know. Thank you for sharing. Ish, can you please share your mailing address? Oh, yeah. My mailing address is 1771 West State Route 89A, Suite B, Box 3015, Sedona, Arizona, 86336. Correct, hon? 86336. And again, at the end of the live, guys, I always put valuable information in the comments. Okay, you could access my classes, you could access my mailing address, you could access my my event. I always pin it, so just make sure you guys read that. And of course, the link to Folium. All right, get those nanobots out of your body. Get those nanobots. And also, if you know somebody that was forced to get that, right, the second, the third, the fourth, just tell them it's a good product to take. All right, get them cleaned. All right, guys. Let's continue Q&A. Yeah, well, Q was the one who initiated the Whitehead operation back in, actually goes back to 1990, where Delta Trump was tasked to infiltrate Epstein and his criminal networks. Ishmael, if we are future in Three Eye Atlas, will our humanists change into something else? Well, we are going to integrate with that version of ourselves. I do have another question from Tina Mac 1111. Thank you so much for your super chat. She says, "Does your lovey offer healing treatments?" And yes, she does. I will be in Sedona in January for Barrett. Jackson was wondering if she has a website. No, she does not have a website, but you could always reach out to her for a treatment via my email, I guess, for now. As I also bought the Cosmic Origin, and I am so grateful that you put this book out there. Well, you guys are so welcome. I appreciate that. I do have another super chat from Robin Anderson. Thank you so much. Ishmael, I paid for our Cosmic Origin class, but live on East Coast, I only found you twice. I bought. Okay, I think I've already read this one. So yeah, you could always do the makeup. Is this all in your book, The Secret Government? No, The Secret Government is it's a thorough explanation of the entire 6,000 years of secret society operations, the battle between the White Hats and the Cabal. That's ancient, guys. Okay. through secret societies, and all of their operations, all the way to 9/11, to current events and everything that happened in the last 6,000 years. So it goes deep. Okay. For those that have not read The Secret Government, it is an easy read. It'll help you really understand how the system of the cabal operates, the system of the beast, right? And it'll also help you understand a lot of the Y hat reports that I'm giving, because a lot of people don't know about the 24 protocols of the learned elders of Zion, which were written by by Adam Weishaupt, by the way, who was the founder of the Bavarian Illuminati. So yeah, it's a good read when it comes to the untold history of the shadow government networks, and of course, also revealing the truth about the alliance and how the alliance could actually be traceable back to Atlantean times. So yeah, this work is ancient. It goes beyond just our current reality structure. We want to see kittens. I don't know what they're up to. I think they're somewhere in the house. Wolf Mother says that The Secret Government is a great read. Thank you, Wolf Mother. Yeah, the cleansing effects of folium is that it's a full body detox from all the bad stuff, especially the stuff that they spray us with. I mean, it's everywhere, guys. They even put it in our food now. So yeah, they're trying to put all of that bad stuff inside of us involuntarily just by buying food at the store, which is insane. So yeah, it's important to get folium because this is it's a war that is about invading our bodies, and you want to make sure you don't let your body become invaded. Yes, I'm still having an interview with Crystal's avatar on the 19th of November on his channel, of course. Let's see. And for those that are on Instagram, I'm going to be collaborating with Akura, our Arcturian starseed sister. I think tomorrow, 12 o'clock my time, 11 o'clock Pacific. We're going to go deep. Yes, lately they have been spraying us a lot in Sedona. That is true. Are the kitties around, hon?
They're by me.
Oh, they're by you?
Yeah.
Okay. People are asking to see the kitties. All right, guys. You guys are going to get what you wish. I see multiple people saying, I want to see the kitties. They're actually growing. They're actually growing. They eat a lot. We spoil them. They know they're loved. And little Lotus, every morning when I wake up, he gets on his two little feet and he tries to give me a hug. He tries to hug me, so I pick him up.
Here, hold on.
All right, here. Which one's this? Lotus?
No.
Hi, Lotus. Say hi. Say hi, Lotus.
That's Rue.
Oh, this is Rue. Okay, this is Rue. Sorry. Where's Lotus? All right. Say hi, Rue. Say Rue is getting bigger. Hi, Rue. He's getting bigger. Look at you, Rue. Okay, let's go back down. He wants to go down. All right, let's see Little Lotus. Now, Little Lotus is also getting bigger. All right, no, this is Rue. You got it all
This is
wrong.
Lotus.
Are you sure this is Lotus?
Yeah.
This one looks bigger. I don't know why I thought this was Lotus. I mean, Rue. All right, he wants to go back down. There. Oh, wait. There goes my folium. It's okay. All right, one more question, guys. One more question. It's about that time. What's your take on remembering all your dreams? This is a question from Kami Buddha, sorry. Well, it helps. It helps you understand yourself on many different layers or levels when you remember your dreams. Sometimes dreams are gateways into alternative Earth realities where you're living a separate or a different type of lifestyle. Um, so you don't remember your dreams, is your question? A lot of people don't remember their dreams, and I don't know if that's normal. They say that we dream um, a lot during the night, and so I would say that the majority of people that have dreams don't remember or recall their dreams as much, unless, of course, the dream is trying to convey a message. Then your higher self makes you remember that dream. Now, I'm not sure that it's coming. I'm not claiming that EBS is coming in 2 days. What I did say is that the Y hats are trying to prepare the public for the releasing of the files, of the island files, okay, which will probably correspond with some sort of an EBS because uh, they're getting ready to red pill the public. Okay, so this could cause a lot of mass hysteria in a sense, and with the different layers of the revelations that are about to take place, connecting, the island situation with cloning facilities, lab grown facilities, organ harvesting, satanic rituals, off world entities. I mean, guys, it's going to blow the lid off of everything. So, but it's always good to be prepared. Okay, it's always good to be prepared. All right. Yes, that's true. Trump has already sent troops to concerned places. That is true. All right. Well, may the God force be with you guys. I will see you guys in 2 days for another update. I hope you guys share this video far and wide because there are certain videos that they don't want me to share. So please help circulate this information to as many people as possible. In fact, if you guys could all share this video to 10 people that would love this intel, please do. All right. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I'll see you guys in 2 days for another update.